Hello there! I heard you want to make a community, but I have a secret you don't want to miss. Your community is gonna suck unless you do it at least moderately correctly. And it's not just me saying that, it's the stats. Most communities are absolute garbage and they absolutely suck. Let's fix that. Hi, my name is Jordan Parker. I'm the guy who creators come to when they want to scale their business or when they're annoyed by the algorithm stealing all of their money. Because money is good. And how do you make money? Through a community. Or at least everyone wants to make money through a community because the recurring revenue of a community is so sweet. You just make the community, people come in and then they pay you forever. Amazing. Only it doesn't really work. Because for people to pay you forever, they need to benefit forever. The goal of business is to help people, to serve them in some way or form. And if your community is just a money grab, people won't stay. And if everyone is leaving your community, then your community absolutely sucks and everything goes to shit. So this is the obvious reason why most communities suck. But the deeper reason why your community is going to absolutely suck is that you don't know how to teach people. If you don't understand how teaching works, then you're going to do your best and then give people a lot of value. People are going to go through this value in about 17 minutes because they're going to skim through everything and then they'll be bored from your community and next month they're gone. So you can't just stack a big ass pile of courses and hope people will magically stay forever. It still doesn't work that way. You have to actually understand how people learn and what value people get from learning at different stages. And there are 3 different stages, and once you understand the stages and once you understand what kind of value people are getting, then you can offer them this kind of value. And as a little bonus, if you offer them the right kinds of value in the different tiers of your community, yes, you can have tiers of your community if you do it correctly, you can actually get them to pay way more money, sometimes 10, 15 times more money compared to the members on the lowest paid tier. So listen carefully, this is going to be very good. Oh, and before we get into the juicy stuff, why should you listen to me? Who the hell am I? My name is Jordan and I'm an engineer and I've been an engineer for 15 years. So I know everything. This is how engineering works. When you get certified by the World School of Software Engineers, you get a diploma that says Jordan knows everything. And no, it doesn't say your name, it says my name because I know everything and this is how it works. I don't make the rules. It's how it works. But as a side thing, which is not that important and you shouldn't believe me because of it, I also work with a bunch of creators who make hundreds of thousands of bucks every month. And so I know a thing or two about making money from content and monetizing your content. So let's get to the juicy stuff. Here is what you get when you join most communities. You get a bunch of courses, right? You get courses. Courses are cool. And what those courses teach you is the process of doing something. So they teach you a process. And I'm not saying this is wrong yet. Processes are actually useful. Understanding how to do something is a very fundamentally important part of learning, because for you to become a master of anything, you first need to copy somebody else. You need to blindly follow a process and just do it in some half-assed way so you can get some results, so you can validate that this approach actually can generate results. And after you do this once or maybe several times, then you can go ahead and start doing this over and over again and actually learn it deeper. But with processes, there is a big ass problem, and that is overwhelm. When you give people 17 different processes for 17 different things, what do? Do they go out and try every one of the 17 things? Would you go out and try 17 things if I listed them right now? Probably not. You have better shit to do with your day, so you wouldn't do it. More importantly, even people who are paying for them very rarely do 17 things, because it is overwhelming to learn 17 things at once. People don't want to be overwhelmed, so they don't do it. So when you provide people 1,000 little courses that all teach them different processes, the result is they get overwhelmed. And when they get overwhelmed, those processes become shit because people don't do them. The only reason for processes to exist is for people to do them. Otherwise, they're just imaginary and it doesn't make sense. So we need something else. We need more stuff to teach people and more depth into which we teach people. So first problem, give people fewer things. So we want a lower number of processes here. Fewer courses, but better, makes more sense in a good community. If you have one absolutely banger course on how to do one absolutely important thing for your audience, that is going to do so much better for any free community compared to piling 17 different courses. But even if you did this part perfectly, if you had a very small roster of different courses you're offering, 1 or 2 courses that are offered for your community, what happens then? Then people watch them, consume them in a matter of time, they might even try them and execute on them and even get results, but they will still most likely quit. Why? Because they have no more value. They already consumed your processes, they understand them, they can execute them, and they have nothing else to gain. And when people have nothing else to gain, they quit, because why would they stay? They're not idiots. So we need the next step of this. The next step of this is principles. You teach the principles behind those processes, aka you teach people how to think. It's not just about executing something blindly and getting some results. It's about understanding how the process works, then understanding how to think about the process, why it works, and then being able to extend this process and make it better. So principles lead to improvement. Now this is good, because when we have people thinking and improving, they have a reason to talk to one another. It's no longer a course that I have to discuss. I don't want to discuss your stupid course. No one wants to discuss your stupid course. That doesn't make sense. Why would I discuss something that's an already established process? It's already there. I don't have anything to add to it. But once I get into the principles of the thing and understand how it's working, now I have a reason to discuss it, because I want to change it. I want to customize it for me. And when there is a bunch of people customizing it for themselves, then it makes sense for them to have discussions. Then it makes sense for them to ask you questions. Then it makes sense for them to create this community aspect, to bond with one another and answer some of those problems together. That is the moment when you actually start having an actual community. You have to create this discussion. This discussion is where the community actually starts and thrives. It is not just you posting more value there. Value has nothing to do with this. You need to help people understand the principles behind the value, and that creates the conversations, that creates the community. You need that component. Without this, you don't have a community. It dies in 6 months. Absolutely guaranteed. So you have the process, you have the principles. You will hire somebody to help you manage this community and keep it alive, and you can help people with the principles a couple of times per week, and this community can continue growing and thriving. But there is more. There is a third level. The best level. The third level is where you can make a lot of money. And this is the level that you want to see. And I think that was a sufficient tease for me to be able to plug creator income before you jump forward. Creator income is the place to be if you want to be a creator who wants to scale a profitable business that doesn't depend on the algorithm. There is a link to join below. You're very much invited to join. I'll see you there. So, what is the last step? How do we take this community and 10x, 15x, 20x the amount of money you can make? This is the most interesting part, I'm guessing. So the final step is called partnership. So why partnership? Why the hell would people want to partner with you? Won't that break the idea of having a fully automated business and you doing nothing? Yes, it very much will break that idea, because having a completely automated business means you have a shitty business. You cannot help people to the best of your capacity and not do anything. But you can do very, very little. That is the goal of business. Getting as much leverage as humanly possible, so you have very few working hours that are laser focused on delivering the most amount of help in the lowest amount of time possible for the best members of your audience. This is how this stage works. This is how it is designed. Why? Because when you help people understand the principles, they will know how to think about the problems. They can start creating their own processes and their own solutions. And that's amazing. But that's still not perfect, is it? Because even though I can copy anyone on the internet and create a process just like theirs, I will lack the experience of most people. And because I lack their experience, there will be moments in which they will be able to do a snap decision and solve a very tough problem in about a second, and I will need weeks, if not months, to solve it. That is not a fun place to be in. Being in a place in which you're stuck, you have a big looming problem and you don't know what the next step is one of the shittiest places you can be. And this is where the partnership comes in, because it solves tough problems. And when you can solve tough problems for people, problems that cost them hundreds and thousands of bucks, people pay you a lot of money for you to solve them, because otherwise they will lose a lot more than that. So the last level of your community should be reserved for the top 1% of your audience, for the highest performers who have the toughest problems and who will benefit from your help the most. But at the same time, they have 10, 20, 30 times more capacity to pay you compared to everyone else in your community. When you organize your community this way, you will get a very small roster of very high paying clients, and you can spend a few hours every week serving those clients. And then for everyone else, you can repurpose what you already created for your top level clients, or you can do a limited amount of time for everyone else in some sort of office hours or in some sort of a group Q&A. But the majority of your time would go to your highest ticket clients, and a very tiny fraction will go to everyone else. But when you start with the partnerships, you have access to many businesses, just like I do right now, which gives you a lot of insights in what the underlying principles that solve the problems of your audience are. And when you know the underlying principles, you have an infinite amount of stuff to teach in the community, you have an infinite amount of conversations you can start in, and you have an infinite amount of fuel for everyone else who is staying in the community. So this highest level is absolutely phenomenal in helping you build the community and make it better, and at the same time generating a lot of income. So organize your community this way. Don't focus on creating 1,000 courses. This does not work. Focus on creating a few very good courses, then focus on starting conversations and teaching the principles behind those courses. And finally, the best performers, you grab them and you put them in a private section of the community for which you run workshops and masterminds and the highest ticket stuff you can imagine, and they make a shit ton of money and give you all of the other juice for everyone else in the community. It is that simple. But at the same time, no one does it this way. And the very few people who actually decide to do it this way, the correct way, will make a stupid amount more money compared to everyone else, and you actually have a community after 5 years, unlike everyone else who started a quick community to make some quick cash and failed miserably. So do that. Ciao.